Hello, everybody, and welcome to Starting Small Music. I'm Justin McCormick, and you're about to hear a conversation with an artist, musician, and music industry professional on their journey and where they got to where they are today. At Starting Small, we like to take you down a journey uncovering the untold stories of your favorite songs and artists. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Starting Small Music Podcast. Today, we have J.D. Groover, Senior Creative Director of A&R at Sea Gayle Music, and also the Tour Manager for Jon Langston. How you doing today, J.D.?
I'm good, man. Just getting my day going.
For sure. So kind of talking about you growing up, you grew up in Kingsland, Georgia. What was your childhood like?
Man, I grew up in the best place anybody could ever grow up. I know everybody kind of says that, but, I'm from the coast of Georgia. I'm 15 minutes away from Fernandina Beach, Amelia Island. I'm 15 minutes away from St. Simons. I'm an hour from Savannah, 45 minutes from Jacksonville, where the greatest football team, the Jacksonville Jaguars, live. It was a good life, man. It was, I had a hardworking mother who, showed me what work ethic was as a young age. She raised me and my brother by herself, and worked at a kennel all day, and then delivered pizzas for Pizza Hut so I could, play baseball and have the nice gloves and bats and Griffey cleats and all that good stuff. So man, I was I wasn't spoiled with material things growing up. I was very spoiled with a really good upbringing. So
That's awesome. Yeah. So
yeah.
you talked about playing sports. Did you play any music growing up, or were you just a big music listener?
Man, I actually did choir.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did. I got into choir at a really young age, like in elementary school. I had a really good choir teacher. I had a really good music teacher in kindergarten, Dr. Fuller. Now he's like a principal for the middle school or something. But I remember, as early as kindergarten, just loving music class, and I joined choir, and I did choir up until my second year of college, which was, I was just a low bass, so it wasn't like I could sing that well. It was just I could get down low in the notes. That's pretty much all I did. So yeah, I mean, I've always had a passion for music, man.
That's awesome. Who were some of the first like artists or albums you listened to growing up that like were some of like your first like favorite like artists that you were drawn to?
Man, growing up in Georgia, that you can say what you want about George Strait being the king, but in Georgia it was definitely Alan Jackson for everybody. The earliest song I can remember knowing all the words to as a little kid was Chasing That Neon Rainbow, which is kind of funny that,
Now
I
working
mean,
in the business.
yeah, man, when you're a little kid, you don't understand what that song actually means or what Music Row is. And, you're a little kid and you just like going, Daddy got a ray, you know what I mean? And,
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, I remember my first concert was actually Alan Jackson and George Jones. Alan Jackson was opening up for George Jones in Jacksonville at the big fair. So
Wow.
yeah, man. So very early on, my mom, she loved country music, but she loved Michael Jackson and Lionel Richie and Sam Cooke and like the R&B kind of pop stuff. And my dad, he loved Leonard Skinner and Randy Travis, Alabama, Alan Jackson, and all that stuff. And so I grew up on that, and I find my own way through my own stuff that I like. Getting to college, I was in college in 2004, and Lil Wayne pops off during that time, so I'm getting into rap hardcore, and it's a good melting pot. I think that's why I like girl pop so much, because I've always not been scared to listen to anything. So
For sure. Now, was it coming out of high school that you started running a club, like a music venue, or was
no,
this a couple years after?
no, this was in college, man. I worked at a at a at a bar in Valdosta, Georgia, where I went to school at Valdosta State, and I did that for those guys for a couple of years, and then they wanted to go open up one in Tipton, Georgia, and I had 4 classes left, and I went to my advisor. I said, "Hey, these guys want me to come run this bar for them in Tipton, and I know I got 1 semester left. What do you think?" And she's like, "I'll never forget this, because I thought I was going to go in there and hear, nothing's more important than college and all, you know what I mean?" She goes, "Hey man, Valdosta State's been here since 1906. It'll be here for a long time. So why don't you go chase that?" And I'm glad I did. But side note, I actually got back into school this summer. I just did a Maymester, and I've got one more paper to do, and then one fall class, and I'll have a college degree. 19
Wow.
years after I started it. So
Well,
it's a
early
lot of my
congratulations for that.
thanks, thanks, man. It's a lot on my plate right now between touring with John and working up here at Sea Gayle and finishing up. But it just my mom worked hard, so she deserves it. So.
Totally. Now, when you were running the club, you made the decision to kind of transition it from a DJ venue to a country venue. What was that like? Like, what was that business decision like?
So it was, we had a model down in Valdosta that worked. I mean, there was more college kids. It was a bigger college, and we had to aim more locally to get the local crowd in there. College kids would come on Thursday, and then Friday and Saturday was, we needed to make money, and they wanted to hear live music, and we did a little bit of that in Valdosta, but not much. And man, we booked Florida Georgia Line for a very, very, very low price. And a week later, Cruise gets on the radio. And after
Wow.
that, nobody wanted to miss the next Florida Georgia Line. So like we were working with, XM radio and WME and all of them, booking all the highway finds and, getting them in super early. We were one of the first clubs to really do that and take that chance. And I mean, anybody you could think of, man, I had him, I did Sam Hunt showcase for his label. John Party, Cole, first person to ever play the bar technically was Cole Swindell and Adam Sanders, which was awesome.
Wow.
Me and Cole go way, way back. And this is when he was still just, songwriting. He wasn't Cole Swindell yet, the big, arena selling artist and 12 number ones or whatever he has now, man. So it's been cool to watch him, grow. And his latest record is stupid good, man. So I'm so happy for Cole. I keep a little thing for Cole in my office every day.
Oh, wow.
So,
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm a
yeah,
big
man.
Cole fan as well, so I totally see that.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's cool that you have a cool relationship and history with Cole as well, because the artist you tour manage for, Jon Langston, you guys are on the road a lot. So I'm sure that's cool, like not only like working for an artist, but then also seeing like being on the road with friends as well.
Yeah, man. I'm, man, I don't want to sound all whatever, but, I'm not a lot of people get to do one thing they love sometimes. And I get to do two things. I'm very, very blessed and very lucky, and I don't ever overlook that opportunity. And, it's tiring sometimes, being gone on the road all weekend, leaving Thursday night and then, coming back in here Monday. So I have like a couple hours to myself on Sunday you know, but I mean, I get to travel the country with my best friend and we get to, play all these great and cool cities and go to all these cool venues that, I always heard about. And, we've been to every state, I think, except for Hawaii, Alaska, and Montana.
Wow.
So, yeah, man, where I'm from, I love where I'm from, but, it's hard to get out of there sometimes, just like any small town. And, I've got buddies who are firefighters and electricians and work at paper mills and stuff like that. And, I get to come to work and listen to music and, I get to go on the road and see cool cities. So I don't ever want to take that for granted at all. So,
Totally. Now, you started tour managing for John before you even moved to Nashville, right?
a little bit, man. I booked John as kind of a favorite of my fraternity brother, who was his best friend growing up, and he came and played the bar, and he had just put Forever. I think Forever Girl was only out for like 2 months on YouTube or something, and I was like, all right, Tyler, like I'll give him a shot. So we put him in Valdosta, we put him in Tifton, and I mean, he brought, Saturdays we had to close at midnight. So Saturdays was always kind of slowish sometimes because he wants to quit partying at midnight, and that dude brought in almost 100 people. And I was like, who the hell is this dude? And we just got kind of close, talking and, and figuring out his long-term plan on what he wanted to be and you know, who he was. And I did a showcase for him for Carrie Edwards. Carrie Edwards manages Luke Bryan, Cole Swindell, Dylan Scott now, CB30, Whitney Duncan, Chase Beckham, you know, some really good artists. And we did a showcase for him and had Sony ATV come down and, you know, pump him up a little bit. And he, you know, sold the place out. At that time, a sellout was 800 before I got the big room. And Carrie ended up signing him. And, you know, she asked me to move up and help him. So, you know, and, you know, Luke Bryan and Cole Swindell and Carrie Edwards believes in you and Dustin Knighton, you got to move. You know what I mean? You can't tell those people. So it's been cool. It's been cool to you know, see Luke from, you know, 2009 on grow to what Luke Bryan is. And, you know, Carrie's I call her Mama Bear. She's one of my mentors in the business, and she's helped me navigate a lot, you know. So I love, you know, very, very lucky to have good people in my corner too. So
Totally. Now, your first night in Nashville, I do some research before these interviews, and I saw that you met a really famous person your first night living in Nashville, right?
Yeah, dude, it was. I moved up on the weekend, so I started with John the next weekend, and I had been coming to Nashville forever, so I knew to go to Losers and Tin Roof and Red Door. Like, I knew what the scene was about. And me and a buddy just went to Losers, and I'm standing at the back bar, and the guy turns around, and I just kind of look at him like, oh my God. And it was Bob Saget. And he was doing a show at Zany's, and he looks at me and he goes, yeah, man, it's me. Just like cool as possible. I was like, oh my God, man. Hey, man, it's a pleasure to meet you. And he goes, man, why don't you grab a drink and sit at the table with us? So I sat with him, his girlfriend, which is his wife now, or was his wife, or ended up being his wife, and his daughter for like 30 minutes. And they were just talking to me about what I did and why I moved to town. And that it was cool that I just kind of walked away from something big down there to take a risk. And he's like, hey, man, enjoy some time with my family. It was good to meet you. He goes, you want a picture? I'm like, yeah, man, of course. And I mean, he took my phone, he did everything, and it was awesome, man. So it's been cool. So Nashville, a lot of people visit here, which is really cool. So you can run into some interesting people sometimes. So
That's so awesome just to hear how down to earth he was and able to hang out with him. That's so cool.
Yeah, man, he was cool. It was, you know, I think it was January he passed away. It was real sad, man. So
now, when did you transition into working at Sea Gayle?
Man, it's kind of a wild story. So Cole had always been in my corner as becoming a song guy. Cole always kind of hyped me up a little bit as, you know, having a good ear for songs. And, you know, I found out what a publisher does early on with I booked Dylan Scott to open or to play our Gym Jam, which is like one of our big parties every year. And I ended up paying this guy CJ Solar to open up. I didn't know much about him. This is when Hardy was actually playing bass for CJ.
Yeah.
And CJ's publisher Jake Gear came down because he always heard about this bar and wanted to see it. He always saw the hats and shirts in Nashville, and you know, we had a good reputation of taking care of bands when they came down and having a good crowd. I mean, it could be me, you, and a Lowe's bucket on stage, and on a Friday night there's still going to be 100, 200 people in there regardless who's up there. So it got people in front of people. And I talked to Jake all night. I know he was a publisher, and I was like, man, I've always wanted to do that. Cole said I'd be good at this. And so I told John I'd move up, but like my ultimate goal was to get into publishing. And I didn't want to, you know, when I asked Carrie Edwards for a favor or Luke Bryan or somebody for a favor, I wanted to get me out of jail or, you know, something good. I knew that, you know, I made enough connections where I could like navigate those waters eventually. Oops, sorry about that. Navigate those waters eventually. And so I moved up here and I took the tour manager job for John. And, you know, I took some meetings and some stuff didn't kind of work out right away. And so I, you know, didn't want to blow my savings. So I worked at Daddy's Dogs. which is shout out Daddy's Dogs. It's a great company. Sean and Andrew are two awesome humans. They pay well. They pay more than they should probably. You make hella tips, which is awesome. And I got some cool stories about how 2017, Lainey Wilson and Megan Patrick and Farron Rachel's and that whole group would just go to lose or sneak a beer outside and come sit with me and play their demos. And selling Kid Rock a hot dog one night, just random crap like that.
That's crazy.
One night, Jake Gear comes by and he goes, "Dude, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "Man, I'm just trying to blow my savings." And he's like, "So you want to get in the publishing store?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Come to my office tomorrow." I'm like, "Okay." He'd been drinking. So I text him the next morning. He goes, "Hey man, am I still getting to come by?" I'm like, he's like, "Yeah, man, of course." So I come over to Sea Gayle. Didn't know what it was. Didn't know, I knew who Chris Dubois was because I grew up loving Brad Paisley, but I didn't know he owned the company. I didn't know Stapleton was here for like 13 years. I didn't know about Jared Neiman or Mike Ryan was here or anything like that or what they had going on. And, Jake being a good publisher, he knew that me and Cole were close and I could get him to listen to songs. And at that time, he hadn't cut an outside song yet because Cole is a great writer. Great.
For sure.
I mean, he'll be a Hall of Fame writer.
No doubt.
So my head, I'm like, man, if I could just prove that I know these guys like this and can get them to listen to songs, like I might have a chance. So I went to Texas and I played Cole a couple songs. He ended up holding two and then cutting one called Somebody's Been Drinking. And so I got a cut as a publisher before I even had a job, which is like kind of unheard of.
Yeah.
And so I went home with the writers because when you get a cut like that, you go to Winners and celebrate and have a couple of beers. So Jake invited me to that. And Jake's like, "Man, I'm going to talk to Chris and Mark about this because I think you could be beneficial for us." And man, so I met with Mark Driscoll, who is one of my other mentors in the business. So then I met with Chris Dubois, who's a great boss. And he's, he lets me kind of, navigate my own waters a little bit. And then I didn't hear anything. And I'm like, damn, again, So I'm working Winterfest in Centennial Park. It's 9 degrees. It's snowing for the first time. I'm pushing this. They wouldn't let me drive the van up this hill. So I'm having to push this cart, drag these coolers, set up this tent. The girl that was supposed to help me didn't show up because it was 9 degrees at 6 a.m.
Wow.
You ain't selling a hot dog until noon. You know what I mean? I'm just
Right.
sitting there miserable. And it's one of the few times that, I'm having a knockout drag down with God. I'm just screaming at him, yelling all day. And just like, why'd you make me leave the bar? Why'd you, you know what I mean? Like, why did I leave Georgia for this? And, was this the right move? And 3 o'clock on a Saturday, phone rings. It's Mark Driscoll. And he goes, "Hey man, we just couldn't wait till Monday. We're going to offer you a creative director job and for X amount of money and benefits." He goes, "Does that sound good to you?" And I'm like, "Man, you guys are idiots. I would have done this for free."
That's awesome.
Kind of teared up a little bit because I was just like, all right, God pushed me a little hard that day for a reason. And then I didn't hear anything. I didn't know Music Row closed down in December. Like everybody it's shut down.
Right.
So I didn't hear anything for 2 weeks. I'm like, damn, did I get punked? Or like, when do I start? You know what I mean? So started in January of 2018, man, and I've been here ever since, man. It's a good home, dude. So
totally. Now, someone that works in A&R, what is something that not only that you look for in a song that gets that you hear, or like if you're out here listening to an artist, what do you look for?
Man, it's a wide variety of things. I think it's the artists and writers that I've signed since I've been over here, and work with. It's they work hard. When I met Jordan Fletcher, it was Rome River Jam, and he was selling merch for Muscadine Bloodline, and it was Old Dominion, Langston, Riley, Muscadine. It's supposed to be Joe Fortner, and open up acoustic. Well, Joe, luckily, sorry, Joe, but your car broke down that day, and I watched Jordan Fletcher without a cart carry these boxes across this big field one by one, wipes his face, gets up and sound checks. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? Plays his 20-minute acoustic thing, goes back to slinging merch. I'm like, man, that guy was good, and he's out here working his ass off. So, you know, just hard working, and and then sometimes people got the juice. You know what I mean? Like Jordan, I signed Jordan Gray, and Jordan's having a lot of success in the first year and a half of his pub deal. He's got a lot of major holds. I can't really talk about with who because I don't want to jinx him. But and then track one on the Walker Hayes record and two on Lily Rose that are already out. So I mean, he had a good first year, and Jeb Gibson. I mean, Jeb is a little superstar, man. Like Jeb is just, I love my roster of people over here. Lynn Hutton. He's got Eric Church cuts, and nobody has those. He's all over the Jameson Rogers stuff. Drew Green, got a couple with Langston, and the Leaving Austin boys, man. They're a good time. So I really enjoy my roster over here, and it's there's not just one thing. Sometimes you just hear a song and sometimes you just see somebody and you're like, that's it. You know what I mean? It's hard to really pinpoint, but somebody that just works hard and who's not scared to put the work in because. Dude, I mean, I don't know what the number is now, but when I moved here, 84 people a day moved here. They wanted my spot. They wanted their spot. They want your spot. You know what I mean? They want to do what you're doing. And, you just always have to, outwork the man behind it. It ain't what they say about a bear chasing you. You ain't got to be the smartest. You just got to be the the quickest. And, you got bears chasing you every day in this town. So.
Well, guys, there you have it. My conversation with JD Groover. JD, thank you again so much for coming on the show. I had a great time talking with you. Everyone go follow him on Instagram at JD Groover. And make sure to come back next week to hear my conversation with John Batdorf of the band Batdorf and Rodney in Silver. I want to give a big thank you to TBD Coffee Co. for being the official coffee of Starting Small Music. Check them out at tbdcoffeeco.com. And follow Starting Small Music on Instagram at Starting Small Music and let us know who you'd like to hear on the podcast next. And remember, everyone starts small.